Thing. All right, there we go. Okay, so I am actually just kind of getting some stuff set up right now, and I am gonna mute. All right, testing, testing. Okay, so I actually am live and I'm looking at my computer so I can keep an eye on anybody who joins chat. But today is a really cool day, and I have made videos before on this subject, but I am actually doing a live now, so that way anybody who pops in and watches, hello Clara's channel, anybody who pops in and wants to ask a question or has anything that they kind of want to know about, this is doing a canine pregnancy test. It's actually a Relaxin rapid test. So when you do canine pregnancy, you don't do a urine test. It's not like with people how you measure hormones in urine. This is something that you do have to do with the blood draw. And I actually took Star today and we did get her blood drawed. So just a FYI that there is going to be some usage of blood here. So if you're squeamish in that, I apologize. I still have not gotten up to doing blood draws myself. First and foremost, my dogs are bigger, so I don't have anybody who would be able to kind of handle them for me to do a blood draw. Now, I'm good with doing injections and stuff, but doing a blood draw just is not my thing yet. So what am I going to need? All right, so a few tools that you're going to need is obviously a relaxin test. And these relaxin tests I do get from S&C Biotech. It is an overseas company. Now, there are a lot of people who sell these in the US. They import them in, but they raise the prices so crazy high. I actually just kind of contacted the company myself, found a salesperson, and just directly bought what I needed. But there are many tests that they sell for canine and feline. And just to show you a couple things that they do have, they have canine distemper, canine influenza, canine paravinfluenza, canine adenovirus 2, canine adenovirus 1, canine parvovirus, canine coronavirus, canine rotavirus, canine heartworm, canine leishmania, I always get that one mixed up, canine brucella, canine pregnancy. Now, again, the canine pregnancy test is also called a canine relaxin test. Canine hepatitis. Some of these are just basically canine, and then they have feline test. Now, other tests for canine, Giardia, Toxoplasma, rabies, Lyme, heartworm, lepto, allergen, Babisa, Cryptosporidium, Etheria. Boy, I'm butchering some of this stuff. Anaplasma. Now, the good thing is that they also do have combined tests. So the tests are single test, but oh, my doggies are going crazy. I think the milk person is getting ready to pass. But they do also have combined testing, which is pretty cool because if you have to test for something similar, you don't want to do one test. They do have combined testing. So I'm talking a little bit about that while I'm getting everything set up. Now, when I get my test here, it's 10 tests in a box. They will send you directions and all the stuff that you need for the test. So it's very, very cool. All the tests are sealed and dated. This expires 2025 to, let's see, 06 of 25. So even if they are expired a little bit, they're still a good, yes, there is a lot of testing for dogs. So I have basically all the tests in my medical supplies for my dogs, and that way I don't have to go right away to a vet if I think my dog has something. Most of these are either a saliva test or like a feces test. So if you think your dog has something, you can actually do a little test at home. And if they do have something and you're able to treat it yourself, that saves you from a really big vet visit, vet bills. But it also will let your vet know if you do have a positive and you do want to take your dog to the vet. Hey, I did an at-home test and it was positive, because some things like parvo and stuff, you do need to let your vet know, because they do need to make sure that when a dog is either positive or maybe has parvo, that it has to immediately get into a room where it doesn't contaminate. So, all right, let me tell you a little bit really quick while I'm waiting for some people. If there's anybody who's here showing up, there's 5 watching. Okay, so canine pregnancy relaxin test. Now, it's a test that measures a specific hormone generated by mainly the placenta. Okay, it is usually an indicator of pregnancy in female dogs, and it says relaxin can be detected within 15 days of initial fertilization. All right, the suggested detection period is 20 to 30 days after mating. Now, if you do a test too early, you may get a negative. So a couple things about the relaxin test, and I'll go over those, but first and foremost, you will need your gloves when handling samples and all that kind of stuff. You want to keep everything sterile. I do have my my serum sample here. I do have whole blood here, but the test is not done with whole blood. The test is done with plasma, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a area here set up, and I want to kind of keep everything clean. And all right, so I'm going to get some gloves on. Yeah, my doggies are kind of being a little bit loud. All right, so I have my sealed pregnancy test, my sealed relaxin test here. I have my whole blood sample here. I do have my, this is actually called a pipette. This is one from Wondorf. And I'm just going to scroll up and see if anybody had any questions or anything. So this is a pipette, all right? It's a Wondorf pipette. I like this pipette because it's not super long and bulky. It fits in your hand perfectly, okay? Now, because I am going to spin this whole blood down to get plasma, I want something that's very, very small for me. I don't want to have a really big, long gun. This one here has 2 different amounts that you can draw up into it. When you push your first time, you'll feel resistance. That's the first amount, and then you can bring it up. Now, if you want a larger amount, you push all the way down, and then you bring it up. To release the tops for the pipettes, which I have here, you will push that down. Now, my pipettes will look like this, all right? So if I am done and I want to release, that's all it is. Quick release. Okay, so I got my pipette ready, and I'm going to be watching just to see if anybody's going to have any questions. So I got my pipette ready. Now the test will come with these kind of cheaper pipettes if you don't have a pipette already. There are a few different kinds that they'll put in there, and it depends on, I guess, what package you get, but let me see if I can show you real quick. There are two different kinds of pipettes. One has this little bitty tip on it. One has this little bitty, really thin tip, and the other one is just a big pipette. Now, I don't have a lot of luck getting really good samples from these, which is why I ordered a Wandorf pipette. And then also you will need, oh my goodness, I forgot what these are called. You will need one of these. And if anybody knows what these are called, Google it and let me know. I keep forgetting what they're called. But you will want to spin down, and it won't turn on until it's closed. You'll need to spin down your sample, okay? So how fast are results for tests? Test results are usually about 5 to 10 minutes. You do want to kind of let the test sit, and now if a dog is a little bit further more, the Relaxin will be more potent in her blood, so you'll get a positive a little bit quicker. All right, now when you're using the spinneret, you want to make sure that you have 2 containers on the same, or not on the same, 2 containers right across from each other when you're spinning, so that way you don't get your spinner to be unbalanced, sorry. All right, so I've got my 2 little containers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, now the blood sample I have here is in a it's a purple top. So the purple tops of these tubes have a anticoagulating agent in them, which means when you have a purple top for a blood sample, it means the blood, when it goes in here, it will not coagulate. It will stay in liquid form. Coagulate just means that it gets chunky and dry and thick. Now, I have tried doing the pregnancy test before with coagulated, this purple top, and with just a regular white top, where the blood, when it goes in there, it does coagulate. The coagulated blood doesn't spin down as nicely as the liquid blood. So from now on, I just get a purple top, so that way the blood can stay liquid. It does not have any, it doesn't change the test at all. It just makes it a little bit easier to spin down, because remember, we're looking for plasm. We're not testing with whole blood, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split and put blood in both of these, and when I do that, I'm going to, again, use gloved hands, and I am going to show you taking blood from here so you can see, and I'm going to be putting it in. Now the plasm will be clear whenever I get a sample, but I just kind of want you to see what it looks like when there's blood. So I'm not going to be using this anymore. I just kind of wanted to show you what that looked like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pour, because it's a little bit easy to pour blood in here. I'm not going to close it yet, because again, I'm wanting to try to get the amount as close to the same in both of them as I can. Now, whenever I go to my vet and the techs do a blood draw, I normally ask them to give me a little bit more than a half a vial full. The lady who I seen today, she looked like she was new, and she gave me definitely less than half a vial full. So I'm just going to kind of work with that. But I did put the whole amount of blood in here, and you don't want to fill it all the way up to the top, because it gets a little messy. You want to make sure that the lids are on tight. The first time that I spin down blood samples, actually I did not have the lids all the way, and the blood kind of went all over the cover. So when you spin down, again, let me bring this over so I can show you real quick. When you spin down, you want to make sure that the blood samples are about the same amount, and you want to have one sample right across from the other sample. Now, if you don't have a lot of blood and you just make one of these, then fill the other one up with water, okay? But you do want a even spin, all right? So it takes about 5 minutes to do a good spin to where the plasma is separated from the blood sample. So I'm going to let that spin down, and while I'm letting that spin down, I'm going to open up the pregnancy test and show you. So let me put you back over here. Oh my goodness. All right, so again, pipettes are wonderful. I do like using the pipette. I do have 2 samples spinning down, and the reason why I have 2 samples always spin down is because when you try to get a sample, sometimes the sample just doesn't come up clean, and instead of waiting another 5 minutes to spin another sample down, I just go ahead and do 2. So we are going to open up the Canine Pregnancy Relaxin test, and it does come with one of those freshener things, but again, it comes with just a normal pipette, and I don't really like using these pipettes, so it just goes into the bag. And I'm going to show you, this is, let me get it focused, RLN. It's a relaxin test. So this is where the sample goes, down here, and then you have a control, or a test and a control. So when the sample goes in, and I'm going to use this to point so that way I don't get fuzzy. So when the sample goes in, the sample is going to flush down, and it's going to hit the test marker first. As long as there's a line in the test marker, you know that the test is still okay. And then it'll pull down, and then this is going to be the conclusion. You know, if you see a line, it's going to be positive. If there's no line, then it's a negative. Okay. A couple quick things about relaxin in dogs. I did have a dog that was, and again, I only do this about after 35 days from the last time that they mate, okay? I don't count 35 days from the first time they mate. I count 35 days from the last time they mate. I don't want to do a relaxin test earlier than that because the relaxin test could be off. And one of the main reasons why I find my relaxin test will be off is I had a female who had a singleton, all right? And I did her relaxin test 35 days after her last breeding. Her relaxin test came up negative. So I was like, hey, you know what? She's not pregnant, you know, the relaxin test. She didn't really show at all, but she did end up having a singleton. No, you're good, you're good, yeah, no. And like I said, it's a lot of people will ask me about pregnancy test, and they'll ask me, do you run around and chase your dog outside to try to get a pee sample in that? But I tell people dogs do not have a pee pregnancy test. It's not like people. But going back to the relaxin test is my female, with her only having a singleton, did not produce enough relaxin during that normal period of time for the test to become positive. And if I would have probably tested her again 2 weeks later, she would have probably given me a positive. But if anybody has ever had a singleton, you know it's a little bit hard to see or tell if your female's pregnant because the weight gain isn't there. Usually there's no symptoms, they act normal. So when I do a blood pregnancy test, that's usually my 100% yes, pregnant, no, yes or no pregnant. Um, but whenever I did have a negative, and then a couple weeks later she gave birth to a singleton, it was that aha, hey, if I think my dog is pregnant and I get a negative day 35, I will retest 2 or 3 weeks later because the possibility of having a singleton is always there. So again, this just measures relaxin. Relaxin is what a female dog will produce and especially when they have more puppies, they're going to produce more of it. So I am going to put this back, and we're waiting for the blood to spin down. I am actually going to turn that off and move it just real quick so it can continue spinning because I want to show you a couple things. All right, so a lot of people have seen my educational mating, breeding, tie videos. All right, now I make those videos not to be lewd at all. It's to educate and show people how the mating is actually a process. There is many years, a lot of money, a lot of love, a lot of things that go into mating. You don't just put two dogs together and want to have puppies. That's not cool. First and foremost, you don't have puppies to have puppies. There are many puppies out there who do need homes. But when you do want to breed, you have to do it the right way. You have to make sure that they're over 2 years old. They have all their paperwork. They have all their health testing. They're healthy. You want to better the breed. You want to make sure you're doing it right, okay? And then understanding the female heat cycle. You do have this, and this is a really good, you can Google it, understanding heat cycle. There is a certain time where a female will want to do the actual act of mating. So the actual act of mating is a small piece to this whole mating process. All right, always keep that in mind. So we've talked about understanding Canine, the testing, and anybody else through watching. All right, so another cool thing to have, especially when you're doing dog breeding or anything like that, pregnancy. Every year there is a new dog whelping calendar on Google that comes out. This is 2025. And what I do is I will put the name of the dog, the female dog, on top, and I will circle the days that she mated. And it'll give you an estimated 63 days after that. So you know kind of sort of when to start getting ready for puppies. This is also really good because a female dog is usually pregnant for about 63 days, but I also do puppy counts. And puppies, their skulls and bones and that do not calify, which means they don't harden until like day 55. So I usually will do a x-ray for a puppy count because I don't want to be surprised with puppies. I want to kind of know how many I'm waiting for. And it just kind of helps me be prepared for how many is coming. I don't do ultrasounds. A lot of people do. I just don't. I just do blood tests to confirm pregnancy. And then I do puppy count to confirm how many puppies there are, okay? So that's a good thing too. Now, this is almost done spinning. So, Star and Silver mated February the 12th, February the 14th, and February the 17th, all right? So from the last day that they locked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So I could have done this blood test on the 24th, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. But I'm doing it on day 42. Now, how long does this blood spin? Okay, it should be done. It's been about 5 minutes, and we'll take that off. But I'm doing this day 42 after the last time she locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up. And all right, now this is beautiful, and I'm going to show you. Let me get, hold on one second. So you see the clear liquid on top? Come on, focus. Behave, camera. Okay, so you see that clear liquid on top? That's actually plasma. And the red at the bottom is whole blood cells, all right? So you see that there's not really a whole lot in there. And it does take, now if you spin it, but you spin it less, it will be pink, all right? It will not be that beautiful clear. That's why I do 2 at a time to make sure that separates very well. Now, so usually you put 4 drops on here, and I'm going to get ready to do that, and then I'll bring the camera over. You know what? Let's do this. I am actually going to bring and tilt the camera over so you guys can see with me, because this is kind of super exciting. Even my, I did this in the vet's office, and even the vets were like super cool. They were like, that's kind of neat. So yeah, because my vet's office does not do any kind of pregnancy or relaxin test. So when they seen me do this, and I took everything into the vet's office, I was like, hey, you know what? Because they were asking me why I needed blood samples, and I told them I do at-home testing. So, all right. There we go. Oh, let's see if I can get, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And what I'm going to do is, I've got my pipette. And again, remember, there's 2 different, one, and it's going to suck up, but if you go 2, it does more. Now, when you take your sample with your pipette, you do not want to push this when your point is in your sample, because you will just blow bubbles in it. You always want to push and then insert. So I'm going to come around, and I'm going to try to do this without botching it. So I'm going to put the tip at the very top, and I'm going to release. So I got pretty good sample there, and I'm going to drop 1, 2, 3. I do need to draw up a little bit more. And you see the test is starting to go. 4. Yeah. And we'll do 5 drops. All right. So we have 5 drops there. I'm actually going to put my sample back, and let's watch and see what happens. Oh, yep, I'm sorry. I am just trying to go over. Oh, nope, there we go. See, look. Now that one does have a little bit of white. You see right there how the test did not come in, but the conclusion is. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to let that set a second, but if I don't get a test line, no, let's see. That one's the control, that's the test. I'm backwards. So, yep. So what I'm looking at is, this is the control line. This is the line that tells you the test is working. All right, my bad. This is the test line. This is the test line that will tell you if it's a positive or a negative. So the sample went in. We have the control line, which is working. The test is working. And then we have a test line. And it says the test line should be looked at in 5 to 10 minutes. Now with this test line here, does it look to anybody like you see anything? Anybody watching? Does it look like there's a line where the T is? Okay, so the control line definitely is very, very dark. And I think I see a little bit on the T. And again, it takes a few minutes to look, but looks like it's a positive, starting to get a line. Yeah, it's looking like it's getting kind of darker. And I mean, in all honesty, I kind of knew, I'm gonna take off my gloves real quick. I kind of knew she was pregnant because she is gaining weight. She is definitely changing her body. Her nipples are getting longer. She is definitely, yo, you see it, friend? Yeah, you know what? So today we have a confirmed positive on Star and Silver. And again, it just gets darker, but it's kind of cool to be able to see the test. Like I say, I have lots of tests that I do on my dogs, not just when they're sick. I do regular testing to make sure that they aren't sick, you know, to make sure that they're, you know, still healthy. But yeah, check that out. There we go. It is definitely showing up right now. So the next question from here is, when do you expect to have puppies? And like I said, that's when this whelping calendar comes in to view. And I'm going to back out because, again, everybody is seeing that there's a positive. We have a confirmed positive. Yay, yay, yay. All right, so I'm going to back out. And thank you. Yes, I have not had a litter of puppies in, I think, 8 months. 6, 7, 8 months. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had a litter of puppies. So I am super excited. I'm glad that I'm having a litter of puppies, especially after wintertime. I don't really like having puppies. Oh, kick the camera. Excuse me, I'm so excited. I kicked the camera. So let's put you back over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you real quick. So I have mated her here, and 63 days from this date is April the 16th. I mated her here. 63 days from this date is April the 18th, and I mated her here. 63 days from here is on April the 21st. Now, you've got to kind of keep in mind that even though the day that the dog mated, there might not be a chance of them getting impregnated in that day. It could take up to 7 days after that date for the egg to actually get fertilized. Okay? So that's where it gets a little tricky when you're trying to find out when your puppy is having, or when your dog is having puppies. So what I do is I take the first day that they mated and I look 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this day here, between this day and this day, is the earliest that I think that they'll have puppies. All right, so that's the earliest. Now the last day that they mated, I'll count 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if they haven't had puppies by then, this will be the last day that I would expect her to deliver. All right, and I'm not trying to be complicated. I'm just trying to kind of let you know that usually there takes a day or two after they actually mate that the pregnancy actually takes place. And the bad thing is like if there's a street dog or a stray dog and they mate multiple times, they can actually have more than one dad in a litter, which is why, especially if you're breeding, you need to keep your breeding females and males separated so only one male is around the female, because a female actually can get pregnant multiple times during her fertile time. Yeah, I'll stick to chickens. Yeah, chickens are probably a little bit easier. But, yeah, so, again, with all this stuff that I have here and that I'm showing you, it is very, very important to clean up, all right? So, I do have my biohazard box here. All right, always, 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 any kind of injections or anything, any blood samples and stuff, always goes into the biohazard. And again, this is why I like this, because watch. So all it is, very, very simple and easy to clean up. All right, I'm going to show you that pregnancy test again here after it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to throw all this stuff away. And these are gloves that I can use next time because they are clean. I have only a few more tests, so I actually need to order some more. But if you haven't seen any of my other videos, I do have other videos that I use some of my other testing on. And, you know, I kind of go over a lot of the other tests that they have. So go back and check that out. That's one of my earlier videos. I do have other videos also where I do more blood testing. Again, I do not draw blood myself. I am not brave enough yet to draw blood myself. I don't think I'll ever draw blood myself. But as long as I can go to my vet, have them get a sample for me, I will be okay. And again, it's easy cleanup, you know, dealing with stuff like that. But, oh, you know what? Crap, I was going to show you that test again. Where'd it go? Test. It's right there. All right, I got it. And let's see, does it? Yeah, no, maybe. And it is a definite line. So control, C is for control. That's making sure the test works. T is for test, which if there's a line, it's a positive. If there's no line, it's a negative. And S is where you put the sample. All right. Now, throw that away. And again, these tests will come with everything you need. They have really, really good instructions. It'll tell you, and it's very, very important to look to see if your test uses whole blood, if you need to spin it down and use plasma, if you need to use a saliva sample, if you need to use a fecal sample. So the testings are really, really good. There's a shot of positive, negative, and invalid. All right. And again, I get these from, what's the company called? S&B Biotech. It's a lot cheaper to buy them direct than to have somebody who imports them and jacks the price up. Like, and I'm going to give an example, not to be exact, but each single test, just for a single test, will cost between $3 and $5. But I've seen people who import these and then they sell them for like $20, $25, $30 for a test. So the inflation on somebody actually selling these tests is crazy awful. But yeah, so I am actually going to go ahead and start to finish this video up. Again, please remember, if you are doing any kind of at-home testing, again, I'm not a vet. I am not a vet. I have been around dogs all my life. I'm self-taught. I do always, like I said, I went to my vet's office today. I do always consult with my vets. My vets, I've known them for a long time. The technicians I've known for long times. But I do like being hands-on and being a part of keeping my dogs healthy and happy instead of everything that happens if I need to go to a vet. I'd rather be able to do testing and, you know, stuff like that at home. So I would say not just a better provider for my dogs, but I just want to be more hands-on on what's going on to them and not being just at the mercy of a vet that I go to. Now, I have seen vets, well, not in my area, but they will charge around $150 to do a Relaxin test. That's like you walking in the door, them doing the blood test, them drawing the blood, them making you pay for the hazard fees and the sharps and stuff, and them doing a consultation after the blood test. So it does add up. And like I said, right now when I went to get a blood draw, it used to be $8, but they raised it to $11, you know, because of all the basically I use one purple tube and a sharp. That's it. And the lady tried to, Sonia Realm, hello, I think you're in school. Guess what? We have a positive. We have a confirmed positive that we are having puppies. Very, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get you up a little bit so you don't see just my hand. But, yeah, so, like I said, today is March the 31st. So we are 42 days out from the last time that Star and Silver mated. Now, the Relaxin test did not come up really fast. That line did not become dark really, really fast. So the Relaxin in Star's blood is very, very low. So I'm wanting to say that she's not as far along as, I'm thinking that she probably got pregnant either the second time or the third time she mated. Usually if the Relaxin is really strong in the blood, that test line will pop really quick, just like that control line. If there is a high amount of Relaxin, that test line will just boom, become solid really quick. Because her Relaxin test line was kind of faint at first and did take a little bit of time to become visible, that tells me that the Relaxin in her blood isn't as strong. So that could be because of a couple of reasons. She might, you're at lunch? Aww. So all we gotta do now is everybody's gotta kind of figure how many puppies we're gonna have. I will do a x-ray probably in about 2 to 3 weeks for a puppy count. Does anybody want to kind of guess on how many puppies we're gonna have? Maybe? Is it Star? Yes, it's Star, and Silver is the dad. So Star is my short-haired white female, and Silver is my long-haired Silver is my long-haired silver sable. All right, so when these two, 9, you think she's gonna have 9? Clara, how many do you think she's gonna have? 6 to 7? That's cheating. Try to do 6 or 7. What do you think? Sonia says 9. I'm thinking she will probably have 8. I'm gonna say 8. Yeah, she does have huge puppies. But like I said, whenever Star and Silver have puppies, they are all going to be short hair puppies. Star is a short haired German Shepherd, and both her parents and all them, they are all short hair. Silver, being a long haired German Shepherd, I wish that he could make, if Star had the long hair gene, or if she carried the long hair gene from her parents, she would have long haired puppies too. But unfortunately, oh, she's gonna go 7. Okay, so we have 7, 8, and 9. But because Star has no long hair gene, and she's not long hair, all the puppies will be short hair, because you need 2 copies of the long hair gene to make long hair puppies. All right. Now, there is a possibility of having silver puppies. There is a possibility of having white puppies. Now, the reason why there is a possibility of having white puppies is because Star is white, but Silver has a parent that is also white, so he carries a little bit of the white gene. Very, very cool. Let's see. Oh, baby, I can't remember. I think it was 10 or 11. Yeah, I think it was 10 or 11. Or no, that was Storm. Yeah, I think it was 9 or 10. I have to check. Yeah. But, all right. So, again, testing at home for Relaxin, which is a dog blood pregnancy test. We did get a positive. And, again, back and see other videos. I do have other testing videos. Just if you're popping in or out, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. That is always helpful. I try to do a lot of these videos to help educate on things that you can do. I know a lot of breeders depend a lot on their vets, which is very, very cool. That's very, very nice. But I'm the kind of person who wants to be more hands-on. I want to be more educated when it comes to my dogs. So that's why I take the extra steps to do this. I sit down and teach myself the proper procedures and what I need. And again, it's just something that is completely satisfying as not just a dog owner. I mean, if you have cats and like I said, there's cat testing that you can do. It's just very satisfying that if you think something's wrong and you have a test, you'd be like, hey, let's do this test to see if everything's okay. All right, so I am working on 48 minutes here, but the next video I'm going to probably do, I am going to do a pregnancy dog, kind of like an update, so you can see Star with her bulge and how she's kind of developing. I will also do a x-ray puppy count video, and I will also be doing a video on, and I know YouTube there's a little bit of censoring on birthing videos, but I do like to record and share what happens with the labor, the delivery, the aftercare, and puppies, so that way everybody can kind of see what goes on whenever you have a pregnant doggy. Wait, is the blood thing done? Yes, it's done. We already did the blood test, and we spent it down, and we did the test already. But all right, so again, You can tell I took Star to the vet just a little bit ago, and she's in there resting. But I do have white hair all over me, and I should know better than to wear black whenever I take my white dog to the vet. But yeah, I just kind of rushed in here after I got her something to eat and got her relaxed. And I was like, oh, we got to do a live video. We got to do a live video. Super, super excited. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and in this video, I appreciate everybody who has dropped in, who has watched, who's left a like, who's commented, who's, you know, anything like that. But I appreciate your support. It is very, very, again, appreciated. And I'm just super excited. We are getting ready to have puppies. So I've got to start ordering my calcium. I got to start ordering, you know, the puppy pads and all that kind of stuff. So I will actually do also another video on getting prepared for puppies. Getting ready. I've got to get their, all their stuff ready. So, all right. I have actually got to go and start doing some cooking and some housework. I've got to change my clothes and get all this white hair off of me. But thank you so much for watching, for participating, for being here, for subscribing, for liking, for everything you do. I am right now at 1,000, almost 700 subscribers. It has been amazing. This journey from starting at nothing to where I'm at right now with the help of everybody has been just amazing. I appreciate it. I actually got my first super thanks not too long ago, and it was so exciting. It was just like, you know, big adrenaline rush to get a super thanks. That was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But I do appreciate everybody who watches, like, subscribe. And I'm rambling. But all right, so I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Now I gotta turn it off. Turn it off. Sonia, where are you? I gotta turn off a live video. Turn off. Is that off? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I learned how to turn it off myself. Off. All right, bye-bye.